Hey everybody, how's it going? It is Friday. That means it's time for SMG Viewers Comments. Hope you're going to have an amazing weekend. Let's get right to it.
Set up an email address for us to send photos of our setups, and you can judge the shit out of us for being fuckhead noobs. Many fucks from Australia.
Ramon, that's a fucking amazing idea. You know what? Awesome. Great idea. Great job. I'm going to put a link in the description below. You guys can check that out. Send me a couple shots of your setup and maybe we can do a show, rate my room or something to that effect. I'm also going to possibly make it available so you guys can send maybe a 30 to 45 second video of your setup because we don't need, the 10-hour long descriptions. Just a basic fucking, pan around showing what you have, and maybe I can give you some advice on how to set things up a little bit better to make your mixing experience a little bit easier and you can make more effective mixes. I think that's a phenomenal idea. What do you guys think? Do you want to get involved in this? Leave a comment down below. I want to hear it from you guys.
Hi Glenn, have you ever had guys in the studio who insist on having their own tone in a song/record, even though in your understandings of good tone, what they want sounds like shit? Similar to vocalists who insist on cupping the mic. How do you continue working in these situations? For example, do you just give up explaining and try to do your best, or you might stop working with them because you don't want your name to be associated with that band and record? Cheers!
Oh man, Victor, is that ever a can of worms? To answer the first question, yes, I've definitely had those conversations numerous times. I remember I was doing, I think it was the second Face Down record back in like 2002, something like that. And the one guitar player brought in a dual rectifier and the second guitar player brought in a Spectre 100-watt head. And we had to explain to him that it would be a better idea if we both went through the rectifier instead of the Spectre, which he had on the insane setting. This is a 2002 Spectre. This isn't even, the most recent iteration. So yeah, as you can imagine, that was a bit of an uphill battle. Generally, when I'm faced with situations like that, I'll be like, okay, let's do a clip. Let's do it using your gear, and then we'll do it using my gear. And then you decide. You tell me what sounds better, what you think comes across on the record. I remember having a conversation with one guitar player. He brought in this piece of shit guitar, and I was trying to get him, and I wound up handing him a Jackson Flying V with an EMG on it. But this one sounds more hardcore, and I'm like, compared to what? Yours sounds like garbage. To quote Vim Fuego, you couldn't amplify a fart through that thing. But my favorite is this. How many fucking conversations I've had with guitar players, especially back in the early 2000s, about, no, we weren't going to use this amazing Digitech thing because it wasn't going to give them the sound that they were after. But it's my sound, man. Yes, your sound is the sound of shit. This sounds like shit. Okay, I get it. Joe Satriani did that one thing. You're not Joe fucking Satriani! Fucking hell. Usually I can, once I give the musician the option to make a decision for themselves, it's a lot easier for them to see reason and see how misguided their opinion has been. But as for wanting to stop working with musicians, that's only happened twice, and that's usually after I finish the record. I've only had 2 clients in my entire career over the last 20, 22 years or whatever, where I've said, no, you know what? That's nice. Thanks. Go somewhere else. Those were 2 people who just took the joy out of making records. And yeah, there's just not enough money in the world left to ever fucking want to make records with those guys ever again. Everybody else, usually pretty fucking cool though.
I've been watching your channel for several years, but I could not even watch that one. You, Mr. Fearless Gear Review, Mr. Real Honest Truth. How can you do an episode reviewing an Audient product sponsored by Audient? What the fuck? That video should have been titled How to Lose Your Hard-Earned Credibility on YouTube in Less Than 10 Seconds. Let's say it's just been a mistake. That's 1, not 2. Fuck you, Glenn.
Well, Lola, let me explain something. Obviously, you're referencing the recent video I did on the Audient Sono, which came out on Monday, I believe. Here's the thing. Where did I say it was a review? As far as I know, that was a demo. Yes, I do Fearless Gear Reviews. You know what? They're labeled as Fearless Gear Reviews, so even the bass players can understand. Apparently, that's just a little too much of a fucking mental leap for you to make. So let me fucking spell it out for you. Fearless Gear Reviews are labeled as such. When something's labeled as a demo, it's a demo. Understand? Am I getting it across? Do you read me? Look, it is no secret. I demo for companies all the time. There's no way I could do my show otherwise. I have to partner up with certain brands. The thing is, I partner up with brands that I think are going to bring value to the home recording engineer. And I'm very proud to work with those companies because I think they offer quality gear. I've been offered sponsorships by other companies that I didn't think did such a great job, so I've turned them down. And believe me, it was very difficult to say no to some of those people. But I didn't think it would work for you guys. Now, if you want to see more Fearless gear reviews, believe me, I would love to do them. But those are patron funded because I go out and buy the gear. That's what allowed me to do my Bugera 333XL video. And here's the thing, a monthly Fearless gear review is about 3/4 of the way funded. So if you guys want to see more of those, head on over to my Patreon and throw a buck or two at it. I'll be more than happy to oblige you. Now, the cool thing is I do have all kinds of awesome patron rewards, like unique t-shirts, mugs, hats, that kind of crap. But I'm also doing patron contests where one of my patrons is going to be winning the Sono. One of the patrons is going to win the Bugera 333XL. Like I said, these are exclusive contests just to my patrons. I might even be doing a gear tier in a little bit, maybe over the next month or two, once I get a couple things sorted out, make sure we can do this and there's enough people sign up. So keep your eyes peeled for that as well. It's going to be a really cool way to get your hands on some very exclusive stuff. Now, if I'm going to do a sponsored video, believe me, I'm going to let you know right up front. The last one said this video has been brought to you by Audience. I thought I was pretty clear about that. If I'm doing a Fearless gear review, it's going to say that too, that this has been brought to you by my patrons. Believe me, the next Fearless gear review is going to be on this Digitech pedal, and boy, is it ever going to be a lot of fun. Make sure you stay tuned for that. Anyway, thanks for watching. Thanks for subscribing.
Hey Glenn, love the show, love your honesty regarding gear.
Well, thank you very much. At least you got it.
I'm starting up my own studio and busy increasing my network. I'm mainly busy as a mixing engineer, but most people who come to me want to record live drums. Since I don't have the facilities for that yet, I really do want to in the future. How would you go about that? What I do now is redirect them to studios who do record live drums. Greetings from the Netherlands and Krieg die Claire, Glenn.
Dude, thanks so much for writing. I've got a very sneaky suspicion that was Dutch for fuck you, Glenn. Anyway, maybe visiting a vinyl pressing plant in the Netherlands sometime this spring, maybe after TGU, kind of putting things in place. We'll see what happens. But as to your question, if you're a mix engineer, that's cool. Just remember, people can record them and mix themselves at home. You better have a skill worth selling, especially something that the home recording musician doesn't offer. And when it comes to recording drums, that's what most home recording musicians have a hard time with. So yeah, they're going to go to other studios. So you could either approach this in one of two ways. One, you could recommend a studio and you can maybe do a handshake deal with them. It's like, you'll send them to get their drums tracked and you'll do the rest of the stuff. And they promise to not try and steal your clients from you. Or two, you can rent that studio out and go track that band in there. It really depends on their budget. And if you're an indie producer, I'm going to take a wild guess that there's not much of one. So the other thing is, start saving your pennies and start developing your skills when it comes to recording live drums, because it sounds like that's what people really want from you. Good luck, dude. And thanks very much for writing.
Hey Glenn, you mentioned having a contract for clients coming in to record in the studio. Is that a common practice in your studio? I have my own studio that I've been having people record in, and I charge hourly, but I didn't make anyone sign a contract. Should I have? What does that contract entail? Thanks.
Honestly, Taylor, most of the time, we've got, just like a handshake deal. Basically, hey, here's what is what. Here's what's expected. Here's what I expect to get paid, and that's usually enough. Most of the people I've worked with have been very cool about that. The two people that I won't ever work with again weren't so cool about that when it came time for me to get paid, and hence that's one of the reasons why I won't work with those people ever again. If you want to drop a contract, that's fine. It can be very basic. All you have to do is outline, you agree to pay me X amount of money per hour. And one guy in the band is designated, the liaison who's going to get the masters. Because I've had a situation where I've had some guys in the band say, well, don't give this guy the mixes. Because of some internal dispute. And it's like, I don't want anything to do with that shit. That's not my business. I've got no place being in there. I stuck my nose in once like that, and I fucking regret it to this day. Never, ever get involved with the band's internal politics. You're only going to wind up looking like the bad guy. Trust me, been there, done that. You don't want any part of that shit. life's too fucking short to deal with that nonsense. So yeah, to have one guy designated, it's like this guy gets the fucking mixes. Any disputes you guys have between yourselves is exactly that. Between yourselves, leave me the fuck out of it. So put that in your contract. And that way, they know they can't fucking come to you to fucking, try and leverage the other guy, because again, that's just fucking nonsense. Also, you might want to have an alcohol clause if they insist on drinking in your studio, that they're responsible for their actions. If they go off and, kill somebody in a drunk driving accident or something like that, it's not coming back on you, that they're responsible for their own actions. The other thing to keep in mind, and I don't know what the deal is in the States, but I know in Canada, if you run a small business out of your house, you might be voiding your home insurance policy. So you're going to have to get a second business policy for your studio. I'd really call up your home insurance company and find out, because you could wind up being liable if somebody gets hurt or there's an accident or that kind of thing as well. And you might not be insured. Believe me, insurance companies love to fuck people over when it comes to things like this. So do your fucking homework. And that's another thing. If your clients are drinking in your studio, that might void your policy as well. So do your homework when it comes to that shit and cover your ass.
Hey Glenn, new subscriber here. I'm fulfilling my dream of learning to play guitar with a Solar S1.6 ET BPM that I bought. Other than taking lessons with a teacher and from the start learning alternate picking, what else can I need to practice on? Cheers from Gothenburg, Sweden, where everybody is named Glenn. Swedish joke.
So I've heard, we had like three Swedish brothers come down here a couple years ago when we did Can You Play Metal on a Strat, and they were saying, yeah, everybody in Gothenburg is named Glenn. Sounds like a cool fucking place. Would really love to visit there one time, because that's where some of my favorite recording engineers are from. Really want to visit Studio Fredman one day. That'd be fucking amazing. Anyway, it sounds like you're on your way. Don't forget, there's all kinds of online resources you can go to. There's ultimateguitar.com, which has got loads and loads and loads of tabs. There's videos, which will teach you techniques, or you can do online lessons through Fender. I'll put a link in the description for that as well. If you want to check it out, yes, I get a little percentage of that. So if you want to help the show out, and you don't want to do Patreon or something like that, and you want to get some lessons, yeah, check it out. It'd be really cool.
I want to get a 7-string so bad. Thinking about getting that cheap Jackson and just upgrade it as it goes.
I'm not sure which cheap Jackson you're referring to, but hey man, go for it. I did the same thing with a cheap Jackson Flying V back in '95. It wasn't one of the super expensive models, but it plays great and it sounds absolutely ferocious. I wound up putting some EMGs in it. I put an 81 and an H into it, which is like a single coil, but it looks like a full-size humbucker. It sounds fucking phenomenal. Guitar still plays amazing. So yeah, you know what? Go for it. There's no one true path to buying a great guitar. You can get a great one off the shelf, or yeah, upgrade it as well. That's equally fun. It really depends on your budget and what you want to do, but the main trick here is to have fun while doing it.
I love that Glenn is so open to new technology, unlike many other people.
You're referring to my quote on the microamps and the pedal amps and the Class D stuff. I think a lot of that stuff's phenomenal. Honestly, I think when I did my original Axe Effects versus the Real Deal video, I think a lot of people got me wrong on that. I thought the Axe Effects sounded great. I just didn't think it was practical in the sense of playing shitty local bars that don't know how to run monitors or a PA correctly. I saw my buddy go through this, where the first half hour of his band show was him on his knees with his ass facing the audience trying to explain to the sound guy how to hook the fucking thing up. I think there's a lot of great technology out there. I love the whole home recording revolution. I think it's fucking amazing. I think it's opened up a wonderful fucking new way of making music. What I am against, though, is the abusive technology, and I've been very clear about that in regards to, sample replacement, pitch correction, and, other artificial talent enhancers. I still want people to make great art. And, when you take the human element, you make paint by numbers, and that's just bullshit. So yeah, if you want to work with micro amps and that kind of stuff, fucking go for it. Just be sure to crank the fucker up and rock the fuck out while you're at it.
You charge a flat rate and then you'll be working on that album for fucking ever. Trust me, when bands get wind that there's no hourly rate, they'll try to get you to tweak mixes over and over. Bunch of cheapskate bands out there. I've done a few records for friends at friend prices over the years. Never again.
If you really want to charge flat rates, if you're afraid, that's going to hurt your business or whatnot, charge hourly for setup and tracking. That way the band's not going to waste your time. Charge a flat rate for mixes, and then you can have a policy you get one recall. Everything else is, X amount of dollars per extra recall. You'll soon find that the bands are very happy with their mixes right out of the gate.
Hey Glenn, I know you have the how to record metal guitars video, which I've seen a billion times, but I still can't seem to get a good sound when I dual track. I used to mic up my cabinet, but I live in an apartment after 3 noising complaints. I ended up getting a 2 notes live. I use a Mesa Roadster channel 400 watt diode. One track is a Mesa 2x12 and the other is a Orange 4x12. I think some phasing issues might be going on because it sounds I'm listening to it through a paper tube. Thanks.
Well, hey, Devin, that can be a number of things. Yes, there might be a phase issue going on. You might want to try panning those cabinets out. That might help, or you can take a look at Sound Radix Auto Align, which will line that shit up as well. The other thing is, if you're using a Torpedo Live, now be careful here, is make sure you turn the onboard cab IRs that are built right in the Torpedo, turn them off. Okay, make sure you do that before you load up the Wall of Sound plugin and put an IR on your sound in that. Fuck, the first time I started messing around with the Torpedo Live, that's what got me. So double check and make sure you're not running an impulse on top of an impulse. And if you're still stuck, go hit up the 2 Notes tech support. They're an awesome bunch of dudes, and I'm sure they can help walk you through your problems.
Hey Glenn, could you give tips to someone who's just starting out on home recording and just introduced to DAWs like Reverb? I'm having a really hard time learning about everything that makes a good mix.
Well, hey, Dallas, just remember, learning how to record is like learning an instrument. You just got to put time in. I'm going to be doing a basic series coming out later this year. That's going to be like a premium thing that'll probably be about 4 or 5 hours where I kind of lay out all the basics and how to fit everything together. And there's going to be exercises and that kind of shit. So yes, I know there's a lot of guys out there like you who want to learn this stuff, but just don't know where to get started. So yes, I've got you in mind. Just all I got to say is please be patient. It is coming.
I'm fucking angry. I found this amazing vocalist with professional classical training. Damn, he sounds like Dickinson in his prime, but he's reliable as an Acer laptop. He came to like 5 rehearsals in 4 months. On top of that, 0 communication. Even when you find amazing musicians, they might be shit people.
Oh, it's so fucking true, man. I feel your pain. Been there, done that. You start working with somebody amazing. You have a couple jam sessions and everything just clicks and, the band fucking sounds incredible. And then communication falls out or they just don't show up or they find other priorities. Yeah. Common tale. If you check out the movie Sideman, which is a documentary about session players and whatnot, there's a fucking reason why session players are so rare. Being a great musician is only part of the equation. You also have to be easy to work with. And if you're not easy to work with, guess what? You're not going to have a career. Not as a session musician anyway, or maybe more than likely not even in a band. So yes, if you're awesome, that's great, but try and be humble about it as well, and try and be reliable, and try and be the guy everybody looks up to, not the guy everybody has to chase down. If you want to be successful and have a career in music, that's fucking amazing. Just remember to be the guy who's easy to work with, and you'll find that success will come to you.
VC question. What is your opinion on the cassette tape revival in the DIY and indie scenes? Cheers from Belgium.
I didn't know there was a cassette tape revival. My experience with recording on cassettes is, it's a shit format. There's a reason why everybody went digital. I lived with cassettes all through the 80s and, the very early 90s, all the way up to my college years. I remember carrying a little Iowa, tape deck along with me and, loading up my pockets, my leather jacket with about, 12 tapes because it took me an hour and a half to 2 hours each way to school and back to go when I was in college. So I listened to a lot of Priest and Megadeth and stuff. And there was so much awesome stuff coming out back then. I remember, the one year, Painkiller and Rust in Peace and Operation Mindcrime all came out at the same time. Fuck, was that awesome. Anyway, and that's what I'd do. I'd sit on the bus and listen to mixes and just analyze the songs. And it was kind of fucking cool. And I'd also carry along a spare set of rechargeable batteries because these were mechanical creations and the battery drain was ridiculous, especially compared to what a cell phone can do these days. But yeah, if you like tape hiss, go cassette recording. Awesome. Yay.
Hey Glenn, I am very passionate about full analog recording. I am, however, on a budget, so instead of reel-to-reel tape recording, I bought a Tascam 238 8-track cassette deck. Do you have any experience with recording on Type 2 cassette? If so, do you have any advice?
Yeah, don't record on Type 2 cassette decks. They suck. Like, I understand, the whole analog vibe and that kind of shit. Just remember, okay, what you put into that recorder isn't going to have any EQ or compression or anything like that. You're stuck with what you're stuck with. There's no fix it in the mix. There's no post-processing. You know, you got to get it right then and there. You know, okay, and that might force you to be a lot more creative, and you know, that can create a certain charm and vibe. But it really doesn't sound very good. You know, I'd go see if you can find like a 4-track quarter-inch reel-to-reel. That's at least going to give you some semblance of quality. Usually those aren't too expensive. You know, have a look around, check around. Vintage King might have something. That's where I'd look first. Anyway, man, very interested to see where this winds up with you. Just remember, tape ain't cheap.
Hey bud, just a quick question. I'm after a long life amp and can't afford multiple amp heads cabs, so I was wondering what is the best, Rev or Kemper head? Both are obviously expensive, but to save on space and budget over the years, I would prefer one main amp. I play mainly metal, but I also like to go into blues and country. Currently saving up for a Martin D15 series or D35, however, really want a solar guitar and install Fishman pickups. My adult responsibility and wallet is giving me the death stare.
Well, you kind of left out one very important detail in that whole statement, is, you know, do you need a different sound for every song you play? You know, if you're happy with, you know, a couple really good sounds, yeah, go with the Rev. You really can't go wrong. All 4 channels on the 120 are fucking phenomenal. And for me, they give me enough variation that's pretty much all I need, especially because you got the mid boost and all that kind of crap. But I mean, you know, if you're one of those guys who has to change up his sound every fucking song because he has to change up his sound every fucking song, yeah, go with the Kemper. You really can't go wrong with that either. Both are awesome options. The other thing is, you know, do you need a cab? And if so, what's your budget for that? The Rev cabs are phenomenal. The Angle cabs are phenomenal. There's some really great shit out there. The thing with the Kemper is you can, you know, just hook it up and record and don't have to worry about miking anything up. The only problem is you're going to sound exactly like whoever's using the same presets as you. So there is that.
Hey Glenn, I'm the lead guitarist in my band. I assist the singer in writing songs. We're not a metal band, we're an alt indie, but heavier, I guess, just FYI. The band members all work well together, but the songs I am currently writing are becoming faster, heavier, and more outside of our band's aesthetic. Our singer does not comfortably sing in the style of music, so I started taking singing lessons to become a stronger singer myself. The other members generally want to stay within our alt indie scene, but I don't want them changing the style of the songs I am writing. My question is, at what point do I stop trying to push these new songs, leave, and strike out on my find a new band? I'm friends with my band members, but I also want some wider musical scope. This is my first time in this situation, and any advice is appreciated.
Well, hey there, Mr. Spaceman. You know, this kind of reflects on what we're talking about last week, is about maybe pushing boundaries and finding new sounds. It's cool that you're going in your own direction and you're starting to do vocals and, you know, you're taking vocal lessons. Like, dude, seriously, kudos to you. More guys could definitely benefit from taking vocal lessons, believe me. The thing is, you know, if you go strike out on your own and you find a bunch of other people who want to do exactly what you want to do, you're going to wind up sounding like, you know, so many different bands out there. Maybe you should take that alt indie thing and then take your heavy influences and try and push the band and work with them and create something new. Create something none of us have seen before, because I think that'd be really fucking cool. And how do you do that? You take an existing sound and you start bringing in different influences and fucking combine them, because you will wind up getting something new. All right, everybody, that's it for this episode. Thank you so much for writing in. As always, please keep those comments and questions coming in, because I'm more than happy to answer them. I rely on you guys to make this show happen. So if you got a question about recording, make sure to leave one below. And if it's awesome, I'll put it on the show. I'd like to thank all my patrons for making this show possible. And like I said, I'll be having an exclusive for this Sono for my patrons. So if you want to get involved with that, or if you want to see more Fearless Gear reviews on the show, please head on over to my Patreon, have a look. You can get some awesome rewards as well. Thanks again for watching. I'll see you guys next time. Hey guys, if you liked the video, be sure to subscribe, as I post every Wednesday, Friday, and Sunday. If you want to learn more about recording, check out one of my tutorials or one of my gear reviews if you want the actual honest truth about a piece of equipment. Till next time, stay metal, my friends.